What's going on, fam? Welcome back to episode 9 of Purgatory Club. This episode, we're doing an interview with one of the OGs of the game, paranormal investigator, photographer, one of the best to ever do it. Like, this guy takes the best pictures you will ever see. Like, it's fucking actually crazy. But episode 9, I hope everybody's having a great weekend. I hope everybody's doing really good. We're out there touching grass, we're drinking our water, we're doing everything, right? So, to get us started, how you doing, Douglas?
Man, doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me on here, man. This
Oh,
is
of
amazing. I
course.
really appreciate it. Oh, and
Of
thank you for
course.
that introduction, man. That's really sweet. I appreciate it, bro.
Of course, of course. You deserve it, man. Like everybody deserves their flowers, right?
There you go.
Yeah, man. So definitely just want to start at the beginning. Like just tell us a little bit about you and let's get to know Douglas a little bit.
Let's see. I'm raised in Southern California. Been living here in Missouri for about 16, 17 years now. Yeah, I don't know. I've been married for 23 years. I have three wonderful children. Um, yeah, I've been truly blessed, and this it's been one long journey to get to this one point, which is really interesting because at this point in my life, I'm able to reflect back on things that happened to me when I was younger that totally fit everything that I'm like living and going through now. So everything is
Absolutely.
like really coming full circle, especially in the paranormal field. So
And that's
it's
maturing. Everybody
yeah,
should
and it's
strive to get to that point where we can look
yeah,
back and kind of reflect and
for
acknowledge certain
sure, for
things in our
sure.
life.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
truly a blessing.
yeah, and have the capacity to grow even more. So you can still teach old dogs new tricks. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's see. What would be like a staple point in your life where you first got into the paranormal? Like, was there a certain instance that happened? Like, did you see a ghost as a kid? Like,
oh
what
yeah,
happened to make you
absolutely,
get
100%.
first into the paranormal?
I think that 100%. I think the paranormal, that the whole activity, clairvoyancy, that stuff kind of runs in my family on both sides, actually. More so on mom's side of the family, my mom. But from as long as I can remember, um, every house that I lived in as a kid, while living under my parents' roof, wherever we would move, there was always something going on, something that I couldn't explain. At the very first, I was probably 5, and every night, but when we would go to bed, my brother and I, we were well at the time. No, I was probably like 7. Anyhow, at the time, my brother and I we shared a room, and our parents would come tuck us in and whatnot. Well, when they would leave the room, um, they would kind of shut the door a little bit and have the hall light on, but the door would always kind of like open a little bit, and it would
Oh man.
open, and when it was done, there was always a silhouette, and I called him the Fat Man. There's always a silhouette of a man standing there, and he would stand there and just stand still and then turn away really slowly and then just kind of walk away down the hall. And that used to be
Wow.
a nightly thing. And it didn't scare me. It was kind of soothing in a way. But I mean, every place that we lived in growing up, there was just something there that I think probably my parents brought with their experiences, what they see, what my mom would see on the daily. I think they brought all that with them, and it would
Really?
manifest itself in any house that we lived in. And there was never anything bad, not the classic poltergeist, thing where stuff are flying, nothing like that. Just a lot of oh, I don't know, just a lot of ghosty stuff, So
Really? And it would follow you guys like house to house.
absolutely, 100%.
Wow. So we're gonna get into it, but just real quick, do you think you guys had an attachment when you were growing up?
I think looking back now, I think we had several, you know.
Really?
Again, nothing. Yeah, again, nothing that was mean in any way,
Nothing
or
malevolent.
yeah, yeah, nothing bad like that. I think it was just more kind of like a uh, I don't know, just making
Would
sure
you
that you were
describe it
okay,
as
if
like the
anything.
kind of spirits that would just kind of come and go? Or do you think he was there
Um,
with you guys like all the time?
I think it changed for each place was a little bit different. I don't. I mean, I want to say that I think that they probably followed. But I think that each place that we were at kind of had added its own mix to it. Like whatever would come with would kind of like conjure up or like wake up what was there at one point in time, you know?
Right. Wow.
So,
That's crazy. You hear a lot of stories about people like that. Like growing up, because I was the same way. I was an army brat, and every year we like different school, different friends, and different houses.
mhm,
But even for me, I never had those kind of experiences where something would be showing itself and just making itself known. Because I think that's what ghosts do. They kind of seek attention.
mhm.
They want to make
Oh,
themselves known to you. They don't just want to kind of. Some ghosts do, but I think with the most part, especially like in your situation, they kind of want to just like, hey, we're here. Let's move a door. Let's
mhm.
move a couch. Let's move something, right?
Yeah, for sure. And to this day, both my parents, I mean, I'm 57, so both my parents are almost 80 now. And to
Wow.
this day, my mom is, well, this happened today and this happened today. She always lets me know and fills me in on things that happen at her place. And it's really great too. Actually, she's wanting to write a book about all of her experiences, and she's been working really hard at it. So I can't wait to see
Oh, I can't wait to
what
see it too.
I can't wait to read it. I mean, this
Yeah.
starts when she was a little girl, to now. And I mean, she's, right now she's got the ghost of a little boy at her house right now. And I've actually seen it too. So
Wow.
it's crazy. But I mean, not malevolent, not mean, just, mischievous. It's a kid.
Yeah,
So
of course. How would you say that changed you having all those experiences growing up?
it made me more open open-minded. Um Not so closed off to something that most people would say is ridiculous. I think,
Right.
people don't see that's not real. And okay, fair enough, because you know what? You probably haven't had any kind of experience whatsoever. So, I
Absolutely.
mean, yeah, I mean, now if you're open-minded to the fact that there might be something out there, um, okay, then fantastic, but I mean, everybody's going to have an opinion, and um, unless you see something that you absolutely 100% cannot explain, then I mean you're going to have that. I don't know. I think you're going to have that thought process.
It's like the saying, like seeing is believing, right? And it takes
Oh,
like
for sure.
a special type of person to not have an experience. Like in my case, I've never had any kind of paranormal activity. I've never seen a ghost. I investigate all the time, like trying to get EVPs and everything on my DVR and whatnot, but I've never
Hmm.
even gotten an EVP. So I definitely think it takes like a certain type of person to have that open mindedness, and that's interesting that you having those experiences even as a kid, that's what kind of opened your mind to this space, and that's
Right.
definitely
I also
interesting.
believe that. Yeah, I also believe that just because you haven't doesn't mean that you won't. I don't
Right.
think that that closes off an individual. Just if you want to have that type of an experience, I think it's just a matter of timing, the right time and the right place. I don't think it has anything to do with where you're at on the mental end of it or where you think about it. I think it just has to be the right place at the right time.
Absolutely. That's so interesting because some people have experiences growing up and some people like don't, and it takes a certain type of person to have these experiences and then kind of just keep like you said, you're how old? You're 56, 57.
57.
Wow. That's crazy. And from childhood all the way until now, I bet it's been something on your mind.
Oh yeah, for sure. There was, again, um, I I think I had my first apartment at 19. So got out at 19, and then of course, you're young, you get out, things happen, you might have to move back in with your parents and this and that, whatever. You know how all that stuff goes. But I
Yeah.
mean, I think even when I was living on my own, there were things going on here and things going on there. Again, things opening, things closing, closet doors opening, closet doors closing, opening
Right.
on command too, where I would be like, yo,
Really?
dude, do that again. And it would open up again. All right, so close it, then it would close, and it was
Wow.
like, all right, cool, whatever, but nothing bad. However, it did reach a point where it just kind of like stopped. And I think, I got married, started having kids, started living in different places, and then everything just kind of quit. There was no more experiences, no more funny feelings, no more, like the hairs on your back of your neck, going, nothing like that at all. Um, until that all kind of came back again after we went to the Sally house.
Really? Okay. So I was gonna ask
Yeah,
you, that
then
was gonna be my
everything
next
just kind of
question
kicked into gear.
actually. Because like as you know, everybody's heard ghost stories. But like you're a different type of breed because you actually have been to these places. So what was your first real investigation?
Well, the first real investigation out of the blue. So our youngest daughter, Chloe, she's kind of like my partner in crime when it comes to anything spooky or anything scary or ghosty or anything like that. So she's 15 now. I gotta remember a few years back, we would just start watching stuff. We'd watch this channel and watch that channel and whatnot. And, one day it just turned out that she had a day off at school. I was off on a Friday. I was going to be off on a Friday, and I saw a thing on YouTube about the Sally House. Now I knew about it, I heard about it before, but I didn't go all deep dive crazy on it or anything like that. And I looked it up, and I'm like, wow, self-guided tours, $20 for an hour. I'm like, you know
Wow.
what? I'm off. She's out of school. Let's have a daddy-daughter day, and let's go do it. It's about 96 miles away from me.
Wow.
And so I cleared
So
it
what is
with
that, like
mom. I
two
cleared it with
hours?
mom first, like a little under.
Mm-hmm.
I cleared it with mom first, and she's like, "Yeah, cool." I asked Chloe, I was like, "Do you want to go?" And she's like, "Hell yeah!" So we did. We just we ordered the tickets, and we just set off on an adventure.
At
And
that point in
and
your
we had
life
an
though,
adventure.
how into the paranormal were you when you
Not
first went to the
much,
Sally house?
honestly.
Really?
I mean, I okay. So I really went. Okay, I knew it was a place. I knew it was world famous. I knew it was quote unquote haunted. But one thing that I did, this is what I did. I went out of my way to not research it. I didn't watch any videos. I didn't read anything. I didn't do anything. I just wanted to go there and see what happened. I don't own any ghost hunting equipment. I just have my iPhone. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just went there because I love taking pictures. I mean, I love photography.
Right.
I love photography, old places, abandoned places. I mean, graveyards. That's my thing. And I thought, what better place to kind of like just try and take some really amazing pictures of this place that supposedly is haunted. Um, yeah, so we turned that into we were there from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. on a Friday afternoon,
Wow.
and it was crazy.
And would you say that was like you trying to, because obviously it's something that we love. Like just talking to you, you can tell that it is something that you genuinely love, right? Like we do this because we genuinely love it. Was when you first took your daughter there, was that you trying to kind of share a piece of your life with your daughter and kind of pass the torch, like get her involved in it? So maybe that opens her curiosity.
Hmm. That's a really good question, actually. It's like uh, I've learned. Okay, so being a parent, we have two older children. One's 26 and one's 22. And
Mm-hmm.
so, Chloe's our youngest at home. And what I've learned with each one is, just share your interests. But most importantly, get into theirs as well. And that's just something that I've learned as a parent. And now with Chloe, even more so when it's something that we both really enjoy. So she was like
It's like
all
the most
fired up to
interesting
go.
thing ever, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you can, if you're on that same level, as far as, you know, don't say hobby, but if you're on that same level of passion for a certain subject, with your kid, and you're able to share that with them, and they want to be a part of that, then I
Right.
mean that's like hella double score right there. So
Exactly. Absolutely. That's such a beautiful thing too. Like having kids and then being
mm.
able to share your
Oh,
passions, and then not only just sharing your passions, but having them take interest in it and being like, oh, this shit's actually cool as fuck too. Like, let's do this. Let's go see this at
right,
house.
right, right.
That's such a blessing because you hear about so many parents like not being able to connect with their kid. Like you did that naturally. And that's why I was like, this is such a natural, genuine thing because it's in everybody. We're all gonna live, we're all gonna die. So
Yeah,
just
for sure.
sharing that interest in your kids it's a beautiful thing, I think. Okay, so that was your first paranormal experience. So what locations have you been to like in total?
Well, so I've been to
And
countless
this is
cemeteries.
investigating or just taking pictures? Like what are your
No,
staple places?
just just taking pictures, really. We're really not even looking for anything, really. Just going there and taking pictures.
Absolutely.
I developed a love for taking photos in cemeteries when my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer, stage 3 breast cancer, uh, 11 years ago, and she's good to go. I mean, she's cancer free now. My way of,
Congratulations.
yeah, hell yeah. My way of dealing with everything that came with it, being a caregiver and doing all that I could, and for her, my thing for me, and this is just weird. I went to cemeteries and I took pictures. I can't explain it. I don't know why, but that gave me peace.
Is that what got you through that?
Yeah, it's just what I did. I haven't really sat down and really like thought about it on a deep level, other than I knew this is this just gives me peace. And that's
Right.
what I did. And then it stuck, and then I did that for years, and um, then I would start going to we obviously went to the Sally House, and again that was amazing. The first impression I had when I went in there, real quick, it's just like a grandmother's house on the inside. It's very unassuming. It's very like it's very. I say it's very warm. It's very accepting.
How's the
I think
neighborhood?
people. Oh, it's amazing, dude. It's like the
Really?
houses around. I mean, Amelia Earhart's house is like right down the road, where
Wow.
she grew up. The architecture, which I love. One thing about moving out here to the Midwest is it gave me a whole new love for anything antique because it's so old out here. I mean,
Right.
there's right down the street from me. Let's see, right down the street there's a church that's now a little like coffee shop antique place. I mean, that was built in 1862. The
Wow.
cemetery, like right down the road from me, it has Civil War dead there. Right
Wow.
down the road, there's the Anderson House, and that's the Battle of Lexington, and that's a ghost hunting place as well. So this whole area is steeped with lore and history, which is just, I mean, every place has that, but I just find that amazing. That's
Absolutely. And I think it's like specifically that part of the Midwest, like where you're at, like Missouri, Kansas City, Kansas, that
yeah, yeah,
whole,
yeah.
I don't know what it is about that section, but you even heard like, we just got a new pope. The last pope refused to even fly over Kansas just altogether. He would
That's
fly the long way around the earth because he
man.
just refused to fly over it. Like there's got to be
What
something to that.
I'm not going to get all theologian here or nor cause any controversy, but what does that tell you of your? I'm sorry, man, but what does that tell you of your faith if you won't do that, dude? I mean,
Right.
where are you at in your walk that you can't even do that because you're afraid of what? Is he not
Absolutely.
is your God not big enough to take care of business?
Right.
I mean, I find that ridiculous,
It's crazy, right? Like to fly the long
utterly
way around
ridiculous.
the whole earth, that's crazy.
It makes no sense.
Let me ask, what did your family and friends think about the paranormal? And what do they think about you being like right in the mix of it, because I think the paranormal space is super small, super tight knit. Like everybody kind of
Right.
knows everybody, right?
My
And even you, like you're
yeah.
like everybody knows Douglas, right?
I
What
don't
do
know
your
about that.
friends and your family think about that?
Well, it's funny. My wife has never had, okay, well, my wife never had any type of paranormal experiences growing up. Nothing like that whatsoever. I would say um, her first paranormal experience happened in the house that we're living in now, and I think that's solely responsible. I think that I totally think we definitely, without a doubt, got an attachment at the Sally house and brought her here.
Wow.
100%.
Wow.
100%. Nothing bad. I mean, really, again, nothing bad. Mischievous, nothing bad. Um, mimic, mimics big time. Mimics big time. My wife and kid right now, they are in Austin, Texas for our niece's graduation. They've
Mm-hmm.
been gone. They left Friday morning at like 3:30 a.m. Okay. Yesterday morning I woke up because I heard my daughter calling my name from her room. Hey, Dad, you know, I
And you
get a
felt
lot
that.
of that. Oh, yeah,
Wow.
absolutely, 100%. There's
Wow.
a lot of mimicry going on, and it's all. If the funny thing is, it's all my daughter calling me.
Wow. And you
So,
said you think
uh,
that what's in your house right now is a little kid, like what your wife is seeing?
no, 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 I no. Um, so what happened with my wife? We came back from we both work at the same job, and we have
Mm-hmm.
a half-hour lunch. We live like a mile away from our job, so basically lunchtime comes, we come home, have lunch, and then go back to work.
Right.
So the first paranormal experience that she had, we were in our kitchen, and I was walking away from her. Like I walked past her, walking away from her. So I wasn't next to her, but her back was to me as I was walking away. And then we heard a sound, right? That. And then she jumped and she's like, "Yo, dude, what did you do?" And I was far away from her. And I'm like, "Yo, man, I did nothing." Something smacked her on her ass hard. And she
Wow.
was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yo, dude, that wasn't me." And she's like, "You've got to be kidding." I go, "No." And she's like, "Holy cow, that's amazing. How can you explain? You cannot explain touch when it
And you
comes
guys
to
were
the
the only two in the
paranormal.
house.
Only two in the house."
Wow,
And
that's actually crazy.
she's like, "Damn it, you going to that spooky place? You brought something back, didn't you?" You know?
How
Um,
long after when you went to the Sally house did that happen?
that's the crazy thing. That actually happened like 6 months after.
Mm-hmm.
So time frame, which I mean, the time frame is weird. I think
Yeah,
that
time
I mean,
is no
I
thing with
mean,
that.
yeah, exactly. So
Like,
that happened. Our bedroom door opening, when it's closed. You know, uh, just little thing. When things move out of thin air. I mean, of
how do you
course,
explain those
you can
things?
see it. Exactly. But of course, you never have a camera around or anything like that when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but
But I don't think
yeah, I
that's the
mean,
purpose. I think when things like that happen, it's for you to know and for your eyes only. And I think it's just making a point like, hey, I can do this.
oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, but uh, but yeah, the thing, things kind of revved up again and started happening again, but nothing evil, nothing malevolent, just something. And I'm good
Mm-hmm.
with that. I don't have a problem with that at all, you know.
Yeah, let me ask, are
Um,
you guys the kind of people
yeah.
to protect yourselves when it comes to the paranormal and things like that? Like before you walked in the Sally house, did you have crystals on you? Did you do any kind of protection or
Not at
anything
all.
like that?
Not at all.
Interesting.
And
Wow.
well, the thing was, is like I had one moment. Okay, so we pulled up. It was myself and my daughter, and there was a lady and her 13-year-old son there. So there was
Mm-hmm.
four of us there, and we pull up, and I had maybe one moment of foreboding, like one moment of like, dude, what did I get myself into?
Right.
And But then it came the time to go, and you walk up, and I'm like, well, and then I don't know, the whole I got to do this now. It just pop the code in and open up the door, and everything that I had felt in that one moment just vanished. You
Wow.
know, and we went in, and it was very it was very uneventful. Nothing. I had one moment coming down the stairs where I really thought something was like looking at me. When you get that feeling that something is looking at you, or somebody's watching you or something. I
Oh,
had one
absolutely.
moment where, yeah, I had one moment where I felt something and I needed to get out of there really fast. And the crazy thing about it is when we went there, um, I I was going to take pictures, and my daughter was going to shoot video, just in case.
Mm-hmm.
So there's actually on the video of me coming down the stairs really fast, and I was like, dude, just had this feeling. Um,
Mm-hmm.
nothing. I saw nothing at all, other than I took pictures for 45 minutes, and for the last 15 I took video. The only thing that I caught was something looked different in one of the bedrooms where I was on video. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna have to take a look at the pictures that I took, because this bedspread wasn't like this earlier. So of course I go back and I look at my pictures, and the bedspread was perfectly flat, perfectly straight. And on video that I caught 45 minutes later, there was an impression on the corner of the bed. So
I remember
something
that.
had sat, yeah, something sat in the corner of the bed. It's
Wow.
like, how do you explain that? And of course, that was it. My daughter did tell me that she had a headache the entire time she was there, and didn't tell me about it until after, because her headache went away. And
Mm-hmm.
then there was an instance when she was in the living room, and a voice said hey, and she turned around, and there wasn't anything there. It
Wow.
wasn't until like 3 days later that I started watching the videos, is when we started getting all the EVPs. Now,
Wow,
mind
really?
you, yeah, with the exception of like one, we were in the nursery, and there's of course there's lots of dolls in there and whatnot. There's a magic 8 ball in there. Okay, so you get the magic 8 ball. What are you going to ask the magic 8 ball in the Sally house?
Are there any
You're going to be
spirits
like,
here?
exactly, am I going to see a ghost here?
Right.
So I mean, that's the only time that I like asked anything.
Wow.
It
So that
was
whole time
every
you weren't like investigating. You weren't like, hey, is
no,
there anyone here?
nope. Are we
Wow.
going to see any? Are we going to see any ghosts today? That's the one
Mm-hmm.
thing that I asked the 8 ball, and of course we heard lots and lots and lots of stuff. Which I've got a lot of stuff, but I'm not tech savvy. I'm not. I mean, I should get into editing and just kind of like piece it all out. But
I
we got
feel you.
some
I'm the
really
same way.
intriguing stuff. Yeah, we got some really intriguing things.
That's too cool. Yeah, the Sally House is different. And it's like you said, every time you go to somewhere like that, you're not guaranteed to get anything. Like, I
No,
think people have this big misconception like, oh, I'm going to go ghost hunting and it's going to be things like shit popping off just left and right, just all the time. Like, no, it's more like a police stakeout, right? Like,
for sure.
you're kind of just like hurry up and wait for something to happen. And if it does happen, great. But if it doesn't, that doesn't mean it's not haunted. It just means, I don't know what it means. It's just, I think things
Yeah,
lay dormant and things wake up. And like you said, you guys were there in the daytime. Maybe that had something to do with it.
maybe. Who
Like
knows?
there's so many
I
different
just
variables.
Right, right. Oh, 100%. I think I don't I mean, I don't know. I mean, is there more activity at that time of night because people think, well, in the mornings, the 3 o'clock, the witching hour, whatever you want to call it.
Hmm.
Does more stuff happen there because people believe that it's going to happen there? Who goes ghost hunting at noon? You know?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So is it happening there because more people are doing it and that's what's going on? Or I would venture to say that ghost spirit or whatever. I mean, if they want to let you know you're there, then I think they're going to let you know that they're there,
Hmm.
unless they clock in at 3 a.m. and clock out at 6. I mean, I don't know.
Absolutely. But I think I'm definitely a firm believer in thinking that ghosts are there 24/7. Just like we're here 24/7, like we don't take off and go somewhere else. I think they're there 24/7 as well.
100%.
Yeah. And speaking of the Sally House, like, let me just ask you, like, what do you think about the theory on that it's a little girl haunting the place? Like, I did episode 1 on Purgatory Club about the
Right,
Sally
right,
House, so
right.
I researched the shit out of this place like last
Hmm.
year. And so, what's your thought on that?
I think, I mean, okay, number one, I mean, anything is possible under the sun when it comes to that. So maybe, but then again, at the same token, why not? I mean, there's a certain group of people whose niche is to look for this kind of thing, you know?
Right.
Um, so why, I mean, why manifest yourself as something that you're not to get more people in, where if you were just yourself, then the same amount of people would come. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, so this house is supposedly haunted by a little girl. Are you going to feel more safer coming to a place that's haunted by a little girl or something that's much more, you know what I mean? It's like they're
Mm-hmm.
still going to go, you
Yeah.
know? I don't understand the deception of it. Um, I
I think the
think,
deception of it is like, I think a lot of people think that it's a demon because if you know anything about demons, they're tricksters as well. They like to
oh yeah, for
perceive and
sure.
do the mimic and make you
Hmm.
think that they're a little girl just so you can feel comfortable to come in, just to kind of, it's like the ice cream truck and the kids like, come over, I got ice cream. It's nice and safe over here. Like,
Oh yeah,
it's
that makes
crazy.
sense for sure.
Mm-hmm. But I definitely think it's a place that it's haunted by something. By what? When we go there in the summer, that's we're gonna have to find out. Like it's gonna be a proper
Well,
investigation. You know what I mean?
yeah, we'll know next month for sure. Well,
Oh,
actually,
for
yeah,
sure.
next month, next month.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask, do you notice any commonalities in hauntings? Like you'll hear stories about like them knocking 3 times to mark like the Holy Trinity and things like that. Like what are commonalities that you notice? Because I'm sure you watch paranormal investigations all the time. Like what are certain things that you can expect a ghost to do?
That's a really, really good question. I think that it's funny. I mean, you would assume that the power that they would have on the other side, whether, okay, obviously you got, ghost, spirit, something demonic, or what have you, and the different levels that you have on that end. Um, uh, I don't know. I think,
Or let me simplify it. Let me ask, do you
mhm.
think spirit is always human? Like, do you think
I
it's
think
something
that
that at one point walked the earth? Like we are here right now, and when we die, we get to be spirit. Do you think all spirits are that? And then do you think there's like you said, the levels?
I think that, okay, well, we walk the earth, uh, in a meat suit for as many years as we're here, you
Right.
know, whether something happens and you're an infant and you pass or you pass tragically at a young age, or you lived a long, full life.
Mm-hmm.
Now, depending on where you go after, your body's gone, your soul goes, and depending on where you go after, you may be a spirit longer than you were a human. So
Absolutely.
I think at the end of the day, you were human for so long that all of those experiences, all the loves, the people that you were around, everything that you did, is you can't have that anymore on the level that you were used to. So
Right.
here you are, wherever you are, on a whole new plane with a whole new set of rules. And maybe those set of rules only allow you to do something between this time and that time. Maybe those rules only allow you to knock something over. Maybe you're up there in the hierarchy, and those rules will allow you to um, be evil, and maybe those rules will allow. Maybe you don't follow any rules, and then you can possess and this and that and the other. So, I
That's a
think that
super
there is
interesting
a
take on it. I never thought about it like
yeah,
that. Like when we die, maybe we start off right at zero, and then we have to, like you said, we
for
might be
sure,
spirit longer than we were here on earth. So we might be spirit for a couple 100 years, and then we still,
exactly,
even at that point, might even only make ourselves up to level 3.
exactly. And could you imagine, God, the irony of being able to be in a position where you see people doing what it is that you were able to do at one point in time, and now that you can. And if you might be able to see your loved ones, I mean, it might be good if you could to, you know, I don't know, just I don't know what the word to say. You might be able to do that to be able to see them grow and maybe, be happy for them or whatever, look down on your family or what have you, But at the same
Absolutely.
time, too, if you're only able to vi experience that vicariously through others because you can't, well, is that going to turn you into, is that going to turn you into another level of, I'm just going to start slapping shit around. I'm going to throw this over there. I'm
Right.
pissed. I mean, think about it.
Mm-hmm.
If you live your whole life one way and you're forced to do something in another, always wanting what it is, what it was that you had at one point in time. I mean, yeah, I don't know if I'd conform. I'd probably be pretty pissed, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
I
know.
love that you
I don't know.
said that
It's
because, like, the whole point of this podcast is it's Purgatory Club because that's what I genuinely believe. Like, when we die, we might start back at
yeah,
zero, and that's purgatory. Like you said, we might be stuck and confined to certain things that we could only do. Maybe we can only communicate by making a EMF detector go off or talking and whispering our words into an EVP recorder and these things like that. And you have to, over hundreds of years, maybe work your way up the ladder. But I
yeah.
definitely think, like what you said, maybe half the spirits or a lot of them do get frustrated. Like, I can only live vicariously through my family or my friends, and I'm kind of stuck.
Mhm.
They don't know what to do.
Yeah.
That's so
I'd be
interesting
hella
to me.
pissed,
Yeah.
honestly.
But I think there's the other side as well. I think a lot of people might find comfort in that. And they're just like, oh, I'm here and I could just be here forever and I don't have to move up or I don't have to move down. I think a lot of them
Right.
might be comfortable in that as well.
Yes, I was just thinking that, like, comfortable in your own skin. It's
Right.
like, being able to
Haunt
prevail
grandma's house
given,
forever.
yeah, yeah, being able to prevail in the situation that you've been given, you know.
Absolutely.
I mean, you know.
What do you think about clairvoyancy? Like people having certain abilities to just do things and hear things and see things that they should not be able to hear and do and see.
Um, I think it takes a certain type of person to be able to it takes a certain type of person to be able to accept a gift that they've been given and utilize it as well, which they might not think a gift at the beginning because they were seeing things that maybe they shouldn't. And I mean, it's definitely going to wreck your day. In the beginning, I would imagine. I'm not there, so I can only speculate. But
Right.
I think if you reach a point to where you're able to help bring solace and perhaps maybe a little bit of guidance to help perhaps someone move on in both in both this plane and another,
Absolutely.
then you've been blessed with something special.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're able to get past all of the beginning of the whole why me, there's purpose there and reason. Now, I mean, it'd have to suck being, you know, being asleep and something waking you up and somebody's lost and can't. I mean, but I mean, you're kind of like on call 24/7, right?
Right.
But
Mm-hmm.
I don't, I don't know. I
I've
can't
got
speak
kind of
obviously
a
from personal experience.
yeah, I've got kind of a weird experience with it. Like a year ago, so say like around the time like last June, last July, around the time when everybody was in GCP and it was a good time, right? Around that time, I was like the complete opposite of what I am now. I was a complete skeptic. I was non-believer in the mediums and the psychics and everything. Just in the last year alone, the things that I've seen
Hmm.
and the things I've even seen myself do, like we would be in the VC, like we would be having game night and playing poker. There's no way in hell somebody should be able to know what somebody across the country what their hand is, right? But
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
little things like that would happen all the time. And It's like, if that's the case, everybody needs to come to Vegas and go to the damn casino because that's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, for sure,
It's happened a
100%.
couple times, Douglas. Like, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
happened
Oh,
with me. That's what made me a believer. It's happened
yeah,
with me, and I've done it.
yeah.
Like Ruby, like we were in there playing
Oh yeah, for
poker,
sure.
and I straight call. I just had a feeling. I'm like, you have a two and you have a king, and I just
Hmm.
saw what was on the thing, and I was like, she has a two and she has a king. There's no way I should have known that. And then, sure enough, at the end of the hand, that's exactly what she had. And then, fast forward a month later, she did that with me. She was like, you have two aces. And again, there's no
Hmm.
cues, there's no kind of auditory, like, there's no
Right,
way somebody should know what's in somebody's hand playing poker. And so it just, in the last year alone, the things that I've seen the group do, the things that I've seen people in the space do, like, it's
right.
unexplainable. And I think that's the only way
100%.
to explain it.
Absolutely. I think, absolutely 100%. And I'll give you, since we're talking about people, I'll give you or we're mentioning people that we know. I'll give you a perfect example.
Hmm.
One day we were on the chat. I think it was a long time ago. It was on the Ghost Club Discord, and I had said something about I texted something like, "Hey, what book am I listening to right now?" You know, and Damien pops up out of nowhere. You know, Lord of the Rings, and 100% that's what I was listening to. So
Wow.
you
There's
tell
no
me
way.
how exactly how,
And there's been a
and I
hundred
was like,
instances of things just like that in the last year.
exactly, and I went ahead and I DM'd him private after that. I was like, yo, motherfucker, how the hell did you get that? He's like, dude, some days I got it and some days I don't. I'm like,
That's
hell yeah,
crazy, right? Like
oh yeah,
it's like a gut thing, right?
yeah, 100%. And it's just
That's
like,
crazy.
how? I think that, when you get a bunch of like-minded individuals together, I think that there's like, you have this pool of thought, and you have some people that are the lifeguards, and you have some people that are waiting, and you have some people that are in the middle and the deep and drowning, and everybody
Hmm.
helps each other to enjoy the time that they're in and to learn. And
Absolutely. And everybody's kind of
yeah,
sharing the
man,
energy, right?
yeah, for sure, 100%.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
It's crazy because there's so many instances of like little things like that happening. It's like there's no way. Like all of us are spread all around the world, honestly. So
yeah.
for it to be possible through a phone or through a tablet or through Discord or through just imagine what people could do in real life. It blows my mind seeing it on a daily basis.
Exactly. You know.
Let's see. How do you handle skeptics, like people that are kind of ignorant to it and don't like take the time to research and look into it? They just kind of brush it off. Like how do you handle the skeptics and the non-believers?
Okay. I think there's a difference between non-believer and skeptic. Non-believer is someone who hasn't experienced anything or aren't to 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 that, because nothing's happened to them. Okay. Now, that's not to say that every skeptic has had a personal experience. However, um, the skeptics, and I ain't gonna go into any names, but the skeptics that I have heard of, watched, seen, has seemed to me that they've um, done investigations, that they have gone to places, that they've done this and that and the other. Now, their bread and butter might be in trying to thwart or find, the individual or the team that is fraudulent or fake.
Absolutely.
Um, but the thing is like, I honestly think, and I mean, I'm just saying that I honestly think that one can't survive without the other. In other words, you have paranormal investigators. Some are legit, and you know what? Some aren't.
Yeah.
Okay, and you've got the other side that are going out of their way to expose individuals that aren't legit. Okay,
Right.
now the thing is, I think skeptics or debunkers or whatever you want to call them. I think they keep one set in line, and then the other set keeps them into a job. You know,
Absolutely.
that's like
Mm-hmm.
it's like the failed actor that wasn't great at acting but could teach a class how to act in a
Right.
proper manner.
Everybody's got their
Um,
place, right?
every experience that I've had with a skeptic has not been bad. Now, I'm not a full-blown investigator with a channel or this, that, or the other. Um, but I have shared stuff. I've shared photography. I've shared
Mm-hmm.
pictures with a few, and the people that I've shared some of my photography with, or some of the pictures, that I've taken, um, were very cordial. Were actually sweet. And are like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
interested. Oh, this is this and that's that, and I mean, I didn't get the beat down or anything like that.
Right.
So again, I kind of went out of my way because I wish it's like okay. So for example, when I was at the All Saints Lunatic Asylum in Apple Valley, California,
You went
that's
there.
the
Wow.
second place that. Yeah,
Oh, you
yeah.
were there with
It
Christy,
was
right?
yeah. It was in last year in November.
Mm-hmm.
Chrissy's a sweetheart. She liked my photography. She really
I'd
loved
love to
my
get her on the
Instagram.
podcast, by the way. She's amazing.
Oh, she's a sweetheart. She loved my
Yeah.
Instagram. And essentially one day she was like, hey, if you're ever in California, would you consider coming and taking pictures of our haunt? And I'm like, absolutely. And the funny thing is, it's in Apple Valley, California. Well, that's where I moved from to come here. So I
Wow.
lived in Apple Valley. I have family in Victorville, which is right next to Apple Valley. Long story short, my youngest brother got married. We planned a trip out there. We spent a week in California, and we hooked up, and I was able to go to All Saints Lunatic Asylum and take a lot of pictures. And the cool thing was, it was Ashley from Ghostcraft Coven was there.
Mm-hmm.
So were Jade and Mandy, and I got to meet them, got to hang out. Ashley took me on the tour of the place. It was Ashley, myself, and my son. We walked around with a flashlight, and I took a ton of pictures, lots of pictures. And so took lots of pictures, and we hung out and had dinner and just talked, and that's where I had like my second like actual physical experience where we were sitting there talking, and something like touched my arm and just went down my arm
Wow.
like out of nowhere. And it wasn't me malevolent. It was almost sensual in a way,
Really?
like, oh, okay, crazy,
Did it feel like a
and then
woman's
like two,
touch?
it honestly did. It
Wow.
felt like something like sensual, not manly, rugged. It
Mm-hmm.
was it was sensual. Now, again, talking, and I have the same chain wallet here. And we were sitting there talking, and out of nowhere, my chain goes taut like that. It just goes straight out like that, and then
Mm-hmm.
falls. How do you explain that?
Yeah.
And that's how do you explain that? Anyways, so the next day, I'm looking over all the pictures, and I find two pictures that are, I think you've seen the doll head pictures.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I saw that the next day, and I was like, this is amazing because those pictures were taken within a second of each other.
Right.
So I showed them to a lot of people. There were some people who was like, oh, neat. Other people, oh, that's spooky. Other people, that's wild. Well, spooky, neat, and wild. I mean, that's. I don't say. I just don't think it's spooky, neat, and wild. I think it's, like fucking crazy. So I started reaching out to more people because I wanted their take on that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I sent emails to these people. I sent emails to a bunch of different people. Um, Claire from Don't Scare Claire, if you've ever watched
Mm-hmm.
her, she was
Yeah.
like, I have an idea. She's like, this is legitimately wild. Like, I can't explain this. I can't give you anything. Why don't you send that to send it to some skeptics, send it to debunkers and see what they think. And I was like, well, that's really interesting. When has in the history of ever has anybody sent a skeptic or a debunker something of theirs?
Right.
Oh yeah,
Something
So
like that that
I
you
did it
know is legit too. Like you just were in the
exactly,
moment and 1,000% beyond a shadow of a doubt. Like you said, you're not tech savvy.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
you know?
I love Ruby to death, and I know she's not tech savvy, but she's taken some crazy fucking pictures. And
Right,
I'm
right.
like, there's only one way to explain that. Like,
Mhm.
it's legit. So I would love like for more people to do that, to send these things out to skeptics and
Yeah, why not? I mean, what are they going to do? I mean, they can poo-poo you, or they can say like, you know something, Doug? I can't explain it. And it could be this, it could be that, it could be movement in the room. But I
mm-hmm,
mean, it's still it's an amazing capture. Way to go. I just when they tell you they don't have a reason for it, you know. On the
right.
flip side, I mean, I sent it to this is like way back, back in the Taps days, the guys, the Taps guys. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Grant, I sent an email to him, and he freaking actually sent me back. Oh wow, this is pretty freaking wild. But the,
Mm-hmm.
but like 4 paragraphs worth of okay, so this that like breaking it down scientifically, all these different elements and all these different things coming up to, there's definitely movement there, but
Mm-hmm.
I can't. There's obviously movement there, but I can't tell if it's demonic, if it's this, if it's that. But there's
Right.
definitely movement there,
And
and
speaking of like
you
those
know.
TV shows back then, I meant to ask you earlier, who did you grow up on? Who did you like you mentioned Taps. Who else did you watch?
Yeah, yeah. I watched them, I mean, I
Jason
remember,
Hawes.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, I watched them and it was interesting. It was cool,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then, I kind of, I watched a little bit of the whole, I mean, I watched some of the whole, I watched some Baggins stuff, you know.
Yeah, I think everybody
I
has,
think
whether we like them or not,
I
right?
mean, who hasn't, and I don't
Yeah.
dislike the guy or his team. I remember seeing the first video they did with, the flying brick,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was interesting, cool, but therein lies the time where I had just gotten married. We started having kids, and that whole, all of it just, I don't know, man. I just kind of got out of it. There was
Mm-hmm.
nothing going on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, that's totally understandable. When you were at the when you did the SS method with Jade and all them, was that at the All Saints Lunatic Asylum?
excuse me. Yeah,
How did that go?
yeah. Estes has always intrigued me.
Me too.
Um, there's something about if you can ask, like, okay, so if you ask you ask the air a question, and then something comes back to you via radio wave, communication goes and stuff. That's pretty wild.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. I've always wanted to try it, and it's funny. We were in the lobby at All Saints, and um, everybody was getting ready to like start their investigation. Now, I wasn't going to stick around for the investigation. I wanted to, but I'm not going to be that guy. Be like, hey, can I stick around with you guys? I wasn't going to be
Mm-hmm.
that dude. So I was kind of hanging out, and I'm like, well, what's is that? I asked Ashley. I was like, is that your setup for Estes? And she's like, yeah, we're doing this and that. And I'm
Wow.
like, well,
The
that's
goggles
crazy.
and
And she's like, hey,
everything.
man, you want? Yeah. She's like, do you want to try it? I'm like, seriously? She's like, yeah, you want to try it? I'm like, hell yeah, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So we tried it in the lobby, and then someone said, "Well, let's go and do it in this one part of the haunt." And so we went and I sat down and put this, put the ear, the headphones on, um, and just listen. I mean, I was really, I mean, I had it like so tight because I didn't want to hear anything they were saying. I heard
Right.
nothing, but I
Mm-hmm.
was just, all this stuff and all this, and then of course it seemed like I was only maybe list. It seemed like I was only there for like 3 or 4 minutes, but
Wow.
I mean, it's not completely. I was under for like 10 minutes.
Really?
It turns out that some of the questions they were asking questions. I mean, and this is Ashley, Christy, Jade, and Mandy, and they're
Mm-hmm.
asking questions. And as they're asking questions, obviously I'm responding to this or that. There was knocks going on. There was like a breathing, a sigh in one direction. Even
Mm-hmm.
everybody was like, "Did you hear that?" Even my son's on there going, "Wasn't that him?" He's like, "No, no, that was over there." Um,
Wow.
and the one really cool thing that you'll see on the video too, if you watch it, it's actually on a Ghostcraft Coven. Uh, investigation,
Mm-hmm.
whenever they would go to tap me out, my body would move away. So as they were
Wow.
trying to tap me, I was moving away, and I guess that happened like 3 or 4 times.
Mm-hmm. I remember
And then
that.
of
That
course they
image
finally got
of
out.
you
Yeah,
sitting there, like with the goggle, with the thing on, and you're just sitting
yeah,
there,
yeah.
like this. Like that's burned in a lot of people's brains, man.
It was crazy. Well, and then after that, and then of course we left after that, and we left, and then of course the episode came out, and the crazy thing about it is later on in the investigation when they were asking questions and this and that and the other, coming out of the spirit box was it was my voice, 100% my voice on 3 or 4 different questions.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great because I was modding the live that night, and
Mm-hmm. I
I'm modding
remember.
it, and people are like, they're like, Doug, were you still there? And I'm like, no, dude, I was gone by then.
That's
That's your voice.
crazy.
I'm like, fuck yeah, that's my voice.
I
That's
remember
nuts,
that too.
Yeah. So, um, yeah, mimicry. I don't know. That intrigues me. It really
It
does.
does.
I I think it's my favorite thing. Paranormal. My favorite things are EVPs. I think Estes is amazing, and mimics. There's
Mm-hmm.
just something about that, that's
Because how do
intriguing to
you
me.
explain either one of those things?
Exactly.
You're taking
And the
EVP,
thing
and
about
your
it,
voice should be the only
yeah,
thing on there.
exactly. And I mean, and the thing about it is like, mimics. I mean, I deal with that a lot, and it's not frightening. But the thing about it is, it's like when you're in your room doing something. If I'm doing this and doing that or the other, and then I hear, "Hey, Dad, come here," and then I like leave my room. I'm like, "What's up?" And my daughter's like, "What's up?" I go, "You called me." No, I
That's
didn't. I'm like,
crazy.
"Dude, really?" I go, "I just heard you." And she's like, "No shit, really?" And I go, "Yeah." She's like, "Dude, I said nothing." I'm like, "All right."
And that's one
So
of those things that happens all the time to so many people.
right, right, right.
It's crazy, man. Have you ever had like an opportunity to help a spirit move on? Like, has a spirit ever came to you like looking for maybe a way out of purgatory?
Um, no, I mean, not on a non-dream level.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not.
Have they came to you in your dreams?
I don't know. Lots of things.
Really?
I used to remember them much better when I was younger. I don't dream a lot, unfortunately, anymore. And then when I do, it's very nonsensical. It's nothing other than just craziness.
Same.
Um, but nothing on the paranormal level. And it's kind of a bummer, actually. It's like I'd love to be able to, you know, to be able to be a part of that, because I mean, I'm a naturally, caring, giving individual, and
Of
it's like
course, yeah.
if I can help you, man, if I can help you, then I mean, I would love to help you on on this plane or another, but maybe that's just not my calling.
Hmm. What would be advice that you'd give somebody who thinks their house is haunted?
Um, I guess I don't, well, I guess if I guess it would just depend on the activity that's going on. You
Hmm.
know, if something is, you know, if something is the difference between malevolent and mischievous, you know, if
There's
a
a
door
difference.
shuts, if something falls, absolutely. So what do you do? Especially if you're like, let's just say you're just, a regular, just, a regular Joe, I mean, let's just suppose you're just a regular person with maybe non-religious views, or anything like that where these things are happening. I think that maybe somebody with a religious background will tend to be all about this ain't cool and we got to get this out and this, that, and the other.
Right.
And I'm not saying that all people that are religious are, by any stretch of the imagination, not open to thought like that.
Right.
But I think that anything other than the norm is considered evil. And not everything is, you know.
Yeah, and you're
Um,
absolutely right. To a lot of religious people,
I,
it is like me in my background, I'm a Catholic. Like I grew up
mhm,
Catholic, I've been Catholic my whole life, but I
right.
think I'm one of the weird ones, right? That I love to question things, like going
Mm.
to mass and everything. They hate when you question things, but it's like I want to know.
Oh, 100%. And I think, I mean, and I think you should. I think, you know, I think if you want to get, like theological, I think biblically, I think you're supposed to ask questions.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
you have to. I mean, you can't. I mean, why would you not? I would think if somebody was to say, "Hey, I think this, that, and the other," I think the first thing that I would say to them is like, "Well, I think look, listen, ask." You know, um,
That's a good
I
one.
mean, I mean, why not? I mean, if something's going on, you're asking the air of something. Like if I was to
Mm-hmm.
say, like close it, and if my closet door opens and then and then closes and opens again, and I said, "Well, close it again," and it closes. Well, I mean, why not on your end? Like why not? I mean, just ask. I mean, what's going to happen? Silence,
Yeah, what's the
or
worst that can
maybe,
happen?
an answer. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So, I
Absolutely.
mean, communication was something that you cannot see or cannot explain. I mean, it gives me goosebumps now. It's got to be so invigorating to be
It's
able to
crazy.
communicate on a level that not everybody can.
It's
But then
like
again,
talking to
I
the
mean,
Wi-Fi, right? Like the Wi-Fi is there,
yeah,
but
yeah,
you can't see it.
exactly.
It's
So,
crazy.
for some people it's a blessing, for some people it's a curse, for some people it's a question, and for some people it's with blinders on, it's just not real because they haven't experienced anything, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Absolutely. And those people that haven't experienced anything, like you said, it's not that they won't. Like for me, I've never experienced
Right?
anything. But I think what's prolonging
I,
me or stopping me from experiencing it is because I'm like wanting
I
it like so badly, right?
well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, my friend. I think it's just a matter of being at the right place at the right time in a
Absolutely.
given situation and a place, especially where um, it's not going to be a thing that's, certainly not, a mass hysteria, mass hypno. It's what it's going to be, where it's going to be at the time. I think, the only, I've had two bad experiences, in my life. Um, and okay, so when I had met a girl, and I had met a girl. I started dating a girl back in the '90s, and
Hmm.
her mother had passed away 6 months before we met.
Wow.
And so we weren't living together at the time, but she was living with her dad. It was the house that her mom passed away in. One morning, this is back when we were living in California. So he left her a '65 Mustang, beautiful, beautiful car.
Ooh.
And one morning she's like, "Hey babe, can you go start the car for me?" It was in winter. Old cars like that, you've got to start up and let it like warm up for 2 days.
Hmm.
And so I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, no problem." So I'm going out the kitchen door. I open up the door to go out to the garage. As I go out to the garage, her mom is sitting in the Mustang going like this with the steering wheel.
Hmm.
And I'm like, I see her mom in the car, and then her mom looks up and sees me and she smiles. And I turn around and I walk back into the house. And I'm like, what the fuck was that?
That's
And
crazy.
I'm like, sit down for a second. And she's like, babe, did you start the car? I go, oh, I'm sorry. I went back out there. She wasn't there, fired it up.
Yeah.
And then a week later, a week later, we're in bed and I wake up in the middle of the night and it's the classic. You wake up, you sense something, you look over, and there she was standing at the foot of the bed with
Wow.
a big smile on her face. Now, you tell me why and how. You know, I put the blankets over my head, fell asleep, and we dated for we dated for like 5 years, and this was like about again 6 months into our relationship. And the thing
Hmm.
is I carried a lot of guilt because of that because she was so she loved her mom. She was the only daughter, very
Hmm.
close to her mother, and I felt like, why me? Like, why me?
Yeah, it's natural.
You know, it took me almost 4 years to finally tell her, this is what happened, this is what I saw. And at first she was a little, I mean, she was bummed, she was hurt, but she was like, she was smiling. So wherever she's at right now, she's happy. And that means the world to me.
Right. She's at
So then I
peace.
was like, man, exactly. So maybe I should have told her, sooner, but that was the one time, full bodied, apparition.
Wow.
Um, yeah, it is completely wild. When I was younger, living in the second experience that I had, um, that some people might take weird, um, I was probably about 10, and we were living in a house, and I think when you're younger, when you're young, you're all about taking baths. And then you
Yeah.
get older and you graduate from the bath to taking showers. And
Right.
you're big now, you're taking showers. Well, there was one house that I was taking a shower in, and so I'm taking a shower, and as I'm taking a shower, the feeling of hands like on my back, like like washing,
Like that scene
going
from The
down my back.
Grudge.
Not, you know what I mean? Now,
Yeah.
not touching me inappropriately, but just doing that. And
Hmm.
I was like, what the fuck? And I stopped taking showers. I took baths for like 2, 3 years actually, before I finally did. It's like, that was like a what the hell,
Hmm.
experience. But
That stuck with
still,
you.
I mean, yeah, so those things, would make you, certain experiences will make you think and act one way,
Yeah,
and act the
absolutely. That would
other,
fuck me
and then
up.
stop you from doing things that are the norm.
Right. That's crazy. You've had a lot of experiences throughout your years. I tell you, you
Yeah.
don't look 57. You look like 37 at least. Like, that's crazy.
Well, God bless you, son.
Let's see. Last question. I'll say, what's a message that you would think spirit would want the living to hear?
Listen, listen. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like that's what I would think. Like just listen. I think that what are they trying to convey? What are spirits? What are
Right.
ghosts? What are everything on another plane? That I mean, what are they trying to convey to us? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, is the other side so fucked that there's nothing going on that they want to? You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, why us? Why now? Because I think that you're trying to go back to what was something that you knew that was most pleasurable for you. Like there were things you were
Mm-hmm.
able to experience
But
at
now
one
they have
time
those
that you
limitations.
exactly. And then to be able to see it too and to walk around it.
Yeah.
I mean, if
They could
that's
probably see it
truly
all
what
day, every
happens, I mean,
day, but
that's
they might not be able to touch things and do things like they used to be
exactly,
able to do. That's got to be frustrating.
exactly.
I get it.
100%. 100%. So maybe, I don't know, maybe the older spirits are more, or, apt to have tantrums, and, where maybe the younger ones are more on the mischievous or loving side. I don't know. I mean, that's a really
Mm-hmm.
good question, man. But I would think that it would be just listen because we're here, like
And they're there.
we're, exactly. And this is how I'm able to communicate with you. I mean, because I mean, if it was able to be done in a certain way that everybody was supposed to, hey, oh yeah, of course, absolutely,
Of
um,
course, right?
there's something that's limiting them from being able to communicate completely, and in the ways that they are now able to communicate, people are going to say, well, that's crap because it's from an app that says for entertainment purposes only, or it's from this that someone can say, well, this radio frequency, I mean, there's
Mm-hmm.
for every advancement towards that, there is a counter to dissuade that. Whereas
Right.
people, mediums that are able to see it on their plane, on the way that they are able to see it, there's not a there's nothing that's going to make everybody 100% believe. It's just their
Absolutely.
experiences and what they're able to do to help that spirit to to continue on, or to educate, or to be an ear. Like my favorite saying is, one of my favorite sayings is, and I pen this too. So is, I'm here to be, ears to listen, shoulders to lean on, and a hand to lift you up. So
Right.
does that mean that it's just only for this plane? Can it not be for something else?
It should be a universal thing across the board,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
especially if majority of them are people that used to walk the earth, so they know all the things that we're going through now. They've already been there. They've done that. They're on the next phase.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. There, and they know that one thing that we won't know this side of life.
Right. They know more than we do because they've
Oh,
experienced both sides of the coin at
uh,
that point.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
That's interesting. Well, I appreciate you coming on, Douglas. Like, for real, that's crazy. You take a lot of pictures. Where can people find your pictures? I want everybody to see your pictures.
Awesome. I am on Instagram at
Okay, go ahead.
Stockwell
Shout out your
1968.
socials, my guy.
Yeah, Stockwell 1968. Um, yeah, that's it really. I'm not an ex-Twitter guy
Oh, okay.
much,
Too
but
easy.
that
I'll
will
put your
that will
socials in
take me
the
to
in the
like a thread.
description, anyways.
Right on, cool, cool.
Yeah,
But yeah, but no, no, thank you so very much for having me. Um, totally. I really appreciate the angle, where you're coming from and where you're taking it, and just it's a different viewpoint. And I think you ask questions that a lot of people don't think to. I think you
right.
ask questions that people are afraid to. And I think you're just you're one chill dude, man. That's
I
like
appreciate that.
whenever I create a story for you, man, it's like I want it to be the most soothing, calm, chill, pick that I can think of, because that's
Right.
what you convey, man. I was real quick. I was in Kansas City last weekend, and
Mm-hmm.
I was at a 3 day long tattoo convention at a booth. And
Yeah.
on a Friday night, there was a buddy of mine plays drums for a band called Gentlemen Rogues. They're out of Austin, Texas. Well, they're touring the Midwest right now, and we were
Mm-hmm.
going to meet them at a bar called the Mini Bar. And I don't know, I was really nervous. I was just kind of like, oh man, and we got into the Uber, and this cat, we got in, and he was playing like this, like Indian, like Indian chant binaural beat kind of thing, in his
Yeah.
in his car. And then he had this, like, incense burning, and
Mm-hmm.
I was in the car for 5 minutes, and like everything just went away, and I was like, fuck, dude. I go, what the hell, what is this you're playing, and what is that I'm smelling? And I told him, I was
Right.
like, man, I felt I was really tense. I was high strung. I was this and that. And as soon as I got in your car, man, it's just everything. I'm so chill right now. This is great. Thanks. And the thing about it is, I think that when viewers listen to you and watch and listen, I think that same, like, thing happens. You know
That's
what I
what
mean?
you can only
Because
want,
in
right?
yeah, man, like, because in your voice and how you approach and what you ask, just kind of like, just makes everything chill.
Yeah, it's
I
because I
appreciate that.
genuinely want to know these things, right? I love this. I'm doing it for the love. Like, a painter doesn't paint to make money or anything. They paint because they just love to paint. Like, I love this shit.
Oh, 100%.
Honestly, it's amazing. I plan on doing this well into my 90s and my hundreds, and it's something that I can do forever. And that's why I love it
Well,
so
when
much.
you're,
I'm like,
yeah,
you know,
well, when you reach
absolutely.
that age, you'll definitely have to look me up, because I'll be on the other side by then.
Oh yeah, we'll be in touch for sure.
Right.
For this life and the next. And I say that with everybody.
Cool. Right on.
Absolutely. So thank you, my friend. Thank you for coming on. This is
Absolutely.
episode 9 of Purgatory Club. I appreciate everybody for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, you guys are real ones. If you're coming from Discord, you guys already know what it is. If you're coming from Apple Podcast, you guys are the real ones because it's only like 30 of you guys. But I appreciate you, Douglas. You're amazing. I hope the whole world sees your pictures because you really do take some of the best ones I've ever seen.
Thank you
So
so
just
much,
thank
man.
you.
I appreciate it. And yo, I'll see you next month.
Oh, of course, brother. It's going to
Overnight
be a
Sally
great
House,
investigation.
baby. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's gonna be some fun stuff right there.
absolutely. So until the next time, thank you.
Got it. Cheers, man.
Alrighty. Oh, cheers, brother.